Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of the Bachelorette finale, where we have just sat through 3 hours of this big event, and now we are here to talk about it even more.
I say this every single year and I will say it again. This is too long. 3 hours, too long. Too long,
Look,
too
too
long.
long.
Listen, I'm a Bachelor fan. I'm a
Yeah,
Bachelorette fan. I love this show, but
yeah.
3 hours, it's too long.
Here's where it got me tonight. It was like maybe the second hour where we're like doing all these individual little moments and dialogues with Blake, and it was just like at this point, I kind of know where the show is going. I don't need to get an inner monologue from Blake at every single step because you guys always do the are they gonna get cold feet? Is he not gonna propose thing every stinking season?
Every season they do that. They really stretched out, even when he rolled up and he's talking to Tasha and Caitlin. Oh, I'm really nervous. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course you're nervous. You're going to propose. Nobody believes you're not going to propose.
There are a lot of issues that I have with this finale, but can we just start with like the logistics of it? Because I felt like this was put together really, really weird, where they had like all of these like happy moments for Katie, engagement, joy, and then all of a sudden they just decide this is where they're gonna dredge up Greg and put like Greg and Katie into like the Thunderdome instead of like the happy couple moment.
Yeah, it was not a good look for Katie. And I know that some people are going to come and be upset with me about saying that, but I'm not the only person that thinks that. I'm not looking at you. I just saw the reaction online, and because I was feeling a certain way about it, where I was like, okay, I get that she's upset, but she's taking it a bit too far. And then she took it a bit further and then further and further. And then all of a sudden I was just like, oh, I just don't feel good watching this anymore. Like, I'm all here for a good dragging of somebody, but
Yeah.
this was just getting really uncomfortable to watch. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like she was so mad at him for having this over the top, not listening to anything she said, reaction to his feelings getting hurt. And now she was just doing the same thing, just dragging him and dragging him. I was just like, ooh, like, I need this to stop.
We didn't talk about this at all before coming on, so I didn't know how you were gonna because I feel almost identical, like almost literally identical in watching this. And this is sort of the crummy thing, and I feel for Katie and for Blake that they have this great love story that comes to an end tonight, and this
Yes.
is this is the thing we're leading off about because this is the thing that I think everyone will be talking about. And okay, Greg hurt her, and he felt hurt by what she did. He was acting on his heartbreak. We went into this a lot in the video last week, and I think a lot of his actions sort of stemmed from that, and he was not nice in how he acted towards her. But it felt tonight like Katie, and I don't know her, but it felt like she entered this with the mindset of this person hurt me, and so now I'm going to hurt them the same way that he hurt me, and I'm going to make sure that I have this audience behind me, that I'm in a venue that is going to be, because she's the Bachelorette, it's inevitably going to be favorable to her within that. And I mean, there was a couple of claps for
I
Greg.
was going to say, it wasn't all favorable for her.
It's true. It's true. I think it felt like she just wanted to sort of hit him with some of the stuff that he hit her with.
Yes, and that's exactly what happened when Greg lashed out as well. He poured his heart out to her. She responded with, I love looking at you, which is not okay. Like, if
Yeah.
you don't love him, then you need to tell him, or you need to say something. Or if you do love him, you don't have to say, I love you, even though you said it to Blake, no problem. It's just, you have to say something. You can't just say nothing. Like, his reaction was over the top, but his heart was hurt. And
Yeah.
I find it hard pressed to find anyone that's in a situation where their heart is completely smashed, where they're not reacting to it or acting out or acting in a way that they normally wouldn't act. And that's what happened. She hurt him when he poured his heart out. He hit her back. He wanted to hurt back.
Yeah.
And I think that was a reaction that happens. And then now we have Katie feeling the same way, except it's months later.
Yeah.
And she is still this angry about it, and that's fine. They haven't spoken.
Yeah.
She hasn't had an outlet to be able to be upset about it. Okay, I got you, girl. I understand.
Yeah.
But it was just so over the top that it felt like Greg got hurt. Greg, hurt her back. Now she's hurting him back. Like, it's just like this. It is just really a bad, icky situation watching this go back and forth. Like, it's fine that they are not together, because if this is how it's gonna be, it needs to not be.
At the end of that segment, Caitlyn said something to the effect of, well, I hope everyone got some closure. Ain't nobody get any closure out of that. Like, that was not about closure. If Katie wanted closure, she would have approached that in a totally different way and asked legitimate questions, because it didn't feel like there was a dialogue here. It was Katie going at Greg.
No, she was just steamrolling him to, I guess get out everything she needed to feel, but also to hurt him, because that's what it felt like. And I appreciate that Caitlyn actually brought up, because she kept saying gaslighting and gaslighting over and over and over again, and trying to get Greg to admit that that's what he was doing, even if it wasn't what he was doing. That maybe this was just his feelings. And I like that Caitlyn actually said, listen, this is a really strong word that you are using. And Katie said, yep, yes, it is. Let's keep rolling with this. And that was around the moment that I was like, okay, I'm kind of out on this.
I understand why it was on the show, obviously. I know they want their drama, but it wasn't enjoyable to watch. I didn't feel comfortable. I don't think anybody comes out of this rooting for Katie or rooting for Greg like that much more.
No, and the other thing that really bothered me, and I had seen some people online talking about it, so when they brought it up on the show, I was like, oh, guys, don't, was the whole Greg took some acting classes. That really irritates me. Not just because I have friends who are actors, it is just in general saying that profession means that you can't truly love somebody, that you're always deceitful. You always have the ability to just lie to somebody because you're trained in pretending to be people that you're not, or playing a role. And it's a craft, and it's an art form. It is not you're learning to be an actor so that you can lie to the people that you're in love with. I think it's just a not okay thing to say to people. That's somebody's job. And if he wants to take some acting classes because maybe he's thinking, hey, I'd like to give acting a shot, then that is fine, but it is not connected. And I will die on that hill. Come for me in the comments. I just think it's just not okay.
I think it's time I make a confession to everyone out there. I took theater for a couple of years in high school, and I took a semester.
How dare you?
I took a semester in theater in college as well, so I just have to say,
dear.
It was all an act. The Bachelorette sucks. I don't like anything. This is just, get out of here. This is just, I'm obviously joking. This is just pure.
It's so ridiculous.
Yes.
Like, really ridiculous. And it's kind of rude. I mean, she wasn't being, no, not a good look. I was not Team Katie. When all of this first happened, I was kind of like, oh, there's some blame on Katie for how she handled it. There's some blame on Greg. He didn't handle it great either. There's blame on the producers. They're jerks. And now we're watching this, and I'm just like, okay, this is just Katie.
I'm not Team Katie. I'm not Team Greg. I am Team I need a drink, because that is what I felt like after watching all of that. I wanted to go back and just give Justin a hug again and just restore myself to a more innocent time.
All right, before we get into a more innocent time, if you are enjoying this video, or you're just feeling kind of pissed off like we are after watching that segment, hit that subscribe button. We will be back for Michelle Young's season when it comes back into the fall. So, we will be here after every episode of hers as well, talking about the show.
And also, if you just want to keep up to date with us, even away from this Bachelor Nation nonsense,
Yeah.
check out our Instagram at Matt and Jess TV. We have happy pictures of dogs and cats and other non-Greg and Katie fighting related things.
All right, so let's talk about the one other negative thing
Okay.
about this episode that really bothered me,
Yeah.
and that is Katie's aunt, who was just straight up rude to Blake. It is one thing to be a independent woman, a strong woman, a woman who stands on their own, and Katie comes from a family of strong women, her mother as well, strong woman, still came across as loving,
Yeah.
loving to Katie, asked some good questions of Blake. It's like, hey, Katie doesn't need you, but she wants you, so if she wants you, I want you, kind of thing. I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a nice way to be about it. And then you had Katie's aunt, who was straight up rude to him. Rude to him, rude to him about marriage, rude to him about his feelings. It was one of the most uncomfortable segments I have ever watched. And that includes Barb.
Oh boy. Oh no, you just conjured her.
Oh, I did. It was so uncomfortable to watch. I just wanted to change channel. At that point, I was just like, please just let this be over. I'm rooting for Blake and I am rooting for Katie to be together. I don't want to see him have his first like interaction with the family. Like, you can be hard on him,
Yeah.
but you don't have to make snide remarks about marriage and marriage not lasting and oh, that's cute, Blake, but like
Yeah.
it was so rude.
She was rough, like really, really rough. And we've seen, kind of jerky family members before,
Sure.
but
Yeah,
this did feel like kind of another level. Like this felt like she kind of came into there with an agenda of, okay, I'm gonna be the bad cop. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna challenge and I'm gonna intimidate. And if this guy can't handle me, then he's not good enough and he should just go now. It felt like that was her philosophy rather than, oh, maybe I should actually try to get to know this person because he's gonna be at like holiday dinners and stuff in the future.
Yeah, or I should really just get to know him because if he's going to be with Katie, I'd like to know that he's the right person. Come with, questions to pull those types of
Yeah.
answers out in the short amount of time that you have, that you can maybe catch him off guard with something and get something out of him if he really isn't there for the right reasons. This wasn't it.
Okay, I realized I have one other beef. I will get to my love of Justin, but there is one
I
other beef.
promise we're not beefing this whole video.
Yeah.
I know we're 13 minutes in,
But-
but here we go.
This is important. Neil Lane. Okay, I get it. They were ahead of schedule. Neil Lane probably hadn't had time to go through his quarantine or something yet, so he couldn't be there in person. Why did you have Blake getting ring advice from the woman he dated like 9 months
Weird.
ago?
It was so weird. You have two hosts.
Yes.
Send Caitlin in there. It's okay.
I was just so wildly uncomfortable about all of this because, at one point, I'm sure it at least crossed Blake's mind that, oh, maybe I might be getting engaged to Tayshia
Yeah.
at the end. Now Tayshia's like engaged to some other dude who is on the season with Blake, talking to him about him getting engaged to a woman who she's hosted this season.
So weird. It was really weird.
What just a weird, uncomfortable mess all of this was. Like, what was Caitlyn doing that she could not have done this?
Okay, now I do want to talk about the one thing that I really had a lot of respect for Katie for, that I thought she did an excellent job at. And I was so happy that she did it. I wasn't sure if she was going to, because a lot of people don't kind of come clean on the show about stuff and they just let their new significant others or their fiancés watch it later and have that discussion in private. But she really tackled this straight on, that straight away she sat down with Blake and she said, listen, this is what's happened. Michael left. It really hurt me. I wasn't sure, how to go on. This thing happened with Greg. It really hurt me. And I felt like I wasn't going to be able to continue on. But this is where I am now. I wanted to continue on. I am here. I am here for you. I was like, Yes, this is a conversation that you need to really have now so that Blake understands how badly these other things hurt you, but that you are still here for him, that you haven't left, you are all in still. And I'm glad that he kind of took it that way as well. Of course, he's going to be like, oh man,
Yeah.
she was going to leave me, but she's still here.
I love that she did this. And I even know last week, I threw the Desiree comparison out there. This is like Desiree to the next level now, because I feel like, Desiree is like one of the few like Bachelor Nation relationships that has actually worked, and for some reason the show pretends like it never happened. But, it's I think a reason why that worked is because she was so honest
Yes.
on the show. And Katie, in being so honest with Blake realized in that moment that, okay, you know what? She's being so upfront with me and being so clear about what it is that she wants and what she's hoping to get from me, that now that I know if we're together, I'm going to know it's real and I'm going to know it's meaningful. And this was just not some performance that got us here. Sorry for bringing up the word performance and Greg in the same video, but it is that is what it felt like to me, that she was very, very genuine.
Yes. And she repeated that with Justin. And we will get more into Justin in a minute, but I liked that she didn't just give that respect to Blake. She gave it to Justin as well. Okay, so I don't want to leave from Blake yet because I found this really interesting and I'm very curious to know how other people feel about this. Okay. So we know that Greg poured out his heart. I love yous. It's all on the table. And she responded with, I love the way you look. Listen, I'm not telling anyone that I love them. And then Greg pieced out.
Yeah.
So then we've got Blake, who's like, okay, you know what? I love you. And then she's like, you know what? Me too. Yeah. I was like, okay, wait a second here. So one of two things is happening here. Either she never loved Greg and she just didn't know how to say so, or she learned a lesson from what happened with Greg, which is that if you have feelings of love for someone and they profess love to you, saying, I love the way you look, or I'm not going to say it back, is the way to not end up in an engagement. It already went badly using that strategy, so that maybe she felt, I'm not going to use that strategy again. Which do you guys think it is? She never loved Greg? Or she learned a lesson from Greg and decided to just say, I love you to the one person left that she was going to be with because it wasn't Justin.
Yes, that is very shady, Jess, if it wasn't Justin.
Oh, come on.
I know. But
we all love Justin, but it wasn't going to be Justin.
It wasn't Justin. I think it is. I think a lot of it is number two. I think she realized that how she handled the Greg situation, regardless of if she loved him or not, how she handled that was bad. And I think she realized that she did really love Blake. And if she did really love Blake, she needed to let him go and sort of screw the rest of the show and the competition, because she couldn't risk having some situation like that happen again, because she was still probably very raw over what just happened to Greg. And I think that just sort of caused her to see the light and realize, I do really love this guy. It's not Justin, unfortunately for Justin.
The thing. She was gonna, if she had responded with the same sort of thing to Blake, and Blake also left, then what happens? Like, it's just her and Justin? She was, I'm not trying to pile on Justin because I really like Justin. It just felt like the chemistry wasn't 100% there for marriage. Like, it was there for some other stuff. And they did say that there was some stuff that wasn't shown on the show. And I really wish they'd shown it, because it felt like he was kind of just there at the end being like, oh, all these other guys are self-eliminating. Now I'm in the final two. Uh-oh.
Okay, Katie, she's not a good fiance for you, Justin, in the end. But you know what Katie is? And I saw this with her in that final conversation with Justin. She's a really good wing woman to you, Justin, because she brought up that you were such a good man, that you had so many wonderful times with her that weren't on the show because the show was too fixated on all the drama and everything else. Yeah. Like, I feel like she set up Justin really well so that Justin, and not that I'm even doubting that Justin's probably doing very well with the women right now around him, but I think she really gave a big stamp of approval to him and the way she handled him in that after the final rose.
And I think Justin handled himself really well on the show as well.
Yeah.
Justin just seems like an all-around, like, cool dude.
I would want to hang out with Justin. He loves painting. I'm not saying, we're not painters on the level of Justin, but we like painting.
We do like painting.
Yes.
We may put some up on our Instagram at Just TV.
I also really love Justin's faces. Like I
He was such a good sport about it. He's got a good sense of humor. Listen, I think that if we didn't have another season of Bachelorette coming up with the possibility of a sort of more newer contestant as a possible Bachelor contestant, it could be Justin. Justin is, good looking. He's got a stamp of approval from the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
He's kind. He's smart. He's funny. Like, I think that could have been a possibility.
Yeah, and I would have liked to see a season with Justin as the lead. You could just paint your way to Justin's heart. Like, I would have watched that.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, Justin, here's the thing. If you're not the next Bachelor, we will produce the next Bachelor for you. We'll just pretend as though we have the money to do that.
That's right. We'll just have a spin-off, and it'll be Paint Your Way to Justin's Heart.
We'll be filming it in our backyard because that's the only location that we have available. Sorry, Justin. I don't know if Andrew Hess or Michael or whoever's on the next season's going to get the big money. You can have our backyard.
That's right.
Well, I am very happy for Blake and for Katie.
Yes.
I hope they work out and these crazy kids find a way to make it work.
Yes, I think that they've got the foundation. There's obviously some really good chemistry between them. The fact that she did have that conversation, she's willing to have the tough talks with him and the honest talks with him. It builds a really good foundation for a long-lasting relationship. Do they have some logistical problems? Sure.
Yeah.
Big deal. You can deal with that. It doesn't matter that he's living up in Hamilton. Hamilton ain't that great. He's probably going to want to leave this.
Shady Jess, the Hamilton residents in the comments are now. See, you're from Toronto. You can make this joke.
I'm just poking fun at the Hamilton people.
Well, I am from. Well, okay. I've driven through Hamilton. There's my Hamilton experience.
There's nice places in Hamilton. However, he seems like a guy who likes to travel, and I know that Katie's mom or aunt or whoever was kind of giving her crap because she was like, hey, maybe I'll go to Canada. Maybe I'll go to Africa. And they were like, what? He can't come to you? It's just like, no, he never said never said that. He just said that, he's going to be going to Africa. And why wouldn't Katie want to take that opportunity to see some places maybe she hasn't been?
Of course.
You going to Africa? I would like to go too.
Yes, who wouldn't want to go? It's an adventure. It's fun. It's exciting. That's what love is. And okay, I'm happy for the two of them.
Congratulations, you two. I know you are not watching this video, but I'm happy for you.
And if you are, good on you. Congratulations. Don't listen to what everyone, well, I don't know. Don't go on Twitter in general. Everybody's snarky on Twitter. Okay. That is the best message I could give. All right. Well, we'll wrap this up. What are you guys thinking right now about this finale? Are you really happy for Blake and Katie, or did the Greg just overshadow everything in this finale?
Yeah, I almost feel like they could have just put that Greg stuff at the very beginning and then give us the rest of the journey. Just have that out. We all know that the studio is there. Everybody's talking. Just have it out. And I know people wanted to, tune in for that Greg dragging, but like they would have stayed. Everybody wants to see how it's gonna turn out. Guys,
okay. Well,
bring on Michelle.
Bring on Michelle. We will be here for that. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you here next time.